Hi, and welcome to our first outdoor practice this spring. Coming to you from the framework of one of our teepees in the retreat center, and hoping that sometime this summer you guys can practice outdoors here with me in person with lots of space. So, anyway, today's practice is really just a basic practice. It's kind of a practice that I like to do on my daily practice when I don't want to have to think about anything and I just want to move my body and move energy around my body and move breath and just feel really good after my practice. And I've been doing a lot of yard work and planting and gardening, so I'm feeling really stiff. And I'm sure some of you are as well. And so I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it talked about the fact that um, we really need to listen to our inner wisdom, to the messages that our body sends us. And it was relating to a tomato seed, which I've been planting my tomatoes all day today. That you don't need to tell the tomato seed what it needs to do in order to grow and come to fruition and produce tomatoes. That's its dharma or its purpose in life, and it innately knows what to do. And we are the same. Just like that seed, innately we know what our bodies need and what they're capable of, but we're usually so full of all of this stuff going on in our head that we forget to listen to our own wisdom. So as we move through practice today, take whatever physicality as we move through the different postures works for you so that you can feel good and content at the end of the practice for both your mind, your body, and your soul. And not just always pushing to the next level, but also once in a while challenging yourself as well. But knowing what you need on a day to day basis. So we're going to start with breath. And we're just going to find that belly breath. So you can be seated or you can be laying down. And if you want to have your hand on your belly so that you can feel the belly expand as you inhale, and draw the belly in towards the spine actively as you exhale. So just finding that diaphragmatic belly breath. Sometimes we're clenching our muscles, our abdominal muscles, all day long in fear, anxiety, or just trying to hold our belly in. And that puts us into stress mode. So take a few breaths of just letting that go and really feeling that expansion as the diaphragm moves down to make space for more air. And then actively drawing the navel center in towards the spine as you exhale. So we're starting to find those muscles of contraction. And let's set an intention for our practice today in this beautiful outdoor sunshine. Perhaps an intention of breathing new life, of moving energy with breath. We're connecting mind, body, and breath all together. And then to take awareness to those parts of you that are connected to your mat and the hard surface beneath you, wherever you might be practicing. And just notice those contact points. What parts of your body are being supported right now while staying connected to your belly breath. Just taking these few moments to come into the present moment by finding our breath, by finding ourselves within our body, by becoming aware of the physical sensations of being here on this earth plane as you feel the support beneath you. Now, if you're lying down, you can roll to your side into fetal position and make your way up to a seat. We're going to do a few rounds of Kapata Bali breath, which is that connection of the belly of rather than having an active inhale and a passive exhale, which is where we normally are with our breath. We will be having an active exhale by consciously snapping the belly in towards the spine to force the breath out, and then passively allowing the inhale to happen on its own. And this is a really good pranayama or breath work to do to strengthen the respiratory system, which is really important right now. And also just to oxygenate the whole body and the brain and get things moving. And you can do this anytime throughout the day to really oxygenate as we draw air deep into the lungs and expel all that stale air out. So let's go ahead and get started. And if you've not done it before, I'll start and you can join in. And it should just be the belly that's moving in, and then we release and relax to allow the inhale. So let's go ahead and start. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale everything out. Take a big inhale. Pause at the top of your inhale and retain the breath as long as it's comfortable for you, and feel a bit of expansiveness beginning in the heart center, in the chest already. When you need to exhale, slowly release the breath out through your nose. And just breathe normally with your normal belly breath for a few rounds. And feel any changes that you might feel, maybe a little bit of lightness. And then we're going to go ahead and do a second round. Taking a nice inhale, and when you're ready, begin. And release that breath. Exhale everything out. We'll do one more breath retention if you feel comfortable doing it. Taking a deep inhale. Retain the breath at the top of the inhale as long as it's comfortable. Feel the collarbones lift and the chest expansive. When you need to release, slowly exhale out the nose once again. Take a few rounds of belly breath here. Notice the sensations in your body. Perhaps noticing how freely the air is able to flow through your nose at this moment. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way onto hands and knees. I'm just doing a few rounds of cat-cow to get the spine moving. If you were seated and you need to stretch your knees out a little bit before we move into that, we can go ahead and do that. Extending one leg. Let's all do this. Extend one leg and press into your toes, and just release through the arches and through the calves and the hamstrings. And then draw that leg in and extend the other leg. And let's just do the same thing. You can rock back and forth a little bit. And just get into those stiff spots that maybe you didn't know were stiff. And then release both knees down, hip width and parallel. Hands are shoulder width apart, fingers spread, pressing into the floor. Lifted through the shoulders, so just check in to make sure you're not sinking in your shoulders, that you're lengthening up and also lengthening the crown of the head forward. So as we inhale, we move into cow pose, dropping the belly slightly, lifting the tail and the crown of the head, and then begin to draw the belly in as we curl the spine up, drop tail and head. And just move with your breath like that. Just nice and mindful, breathing through the nose, drawing the belly in to initiate the cat pose. Let's do one more round just like this. And as we come into cow pose, we'll use our exhale to move into child's pose, drawing the belly in, sending the hips back. And I like to keep my toes curled under, especially for the first couple, just to stretch into the feet and the arches. The inhale, we come up into cow. And the exhale, the belly draws in. We send the hips back, get a nice stretch through the back. Inhale up to cow. And exhale back. Inhale up. And exhale back to child's pose. This time bring your knees wide and your toes to touch. We're going to move in and out of hanging cobra. So as we inhale, we rise up. Arms are straight, shoulders lifted. Send the hips forward, point the toes to the sky or your ceiling, wherever you're practicing. The exhale, we move back into child's pose. So just getting a little more movement in the spine. Two more like that. The inhale, we move into hanging cobra, sending the hips forward, opening those hip creases, opening the front body. The exhale, we move back into child's pose. Soften down. One more like that. Inhale, forward. Send the pubic bone forward. And exhale back. This time the inhale, we rise up. Coming into tabletop once again, curl your toes under. And let's find our way slowly into downward facing dog, starting with a hover. So lifting the knees just to hover slightly. Stay lifted through the shoulders. The navel center is drawn in to support you. Take one more breath here. And then slowly send the hips up. It's okay if your knees are bent for these first few rounds or through the whole practice. And it's okay if your heels don't touch. Let's walk this first dog out. So let's start by bending your right knee and stretch into your toes, or even lift the toes. We did this last week. Even lift the toes and circle your ankle on that right foot. And then bring that foot down. And let's do the same with the left. So bend the left knee as you press into the right heel. And maybe we circle the ankle on that left foot. And bring that foot down. Let's turn both toes to the right side of your mat. And press the top of your mat away. Stretch into the right side body. Keep the feet there as you come forward to plank pose. As we get into the oblique muscles, our side body muscles. Press back to downward facing dog. Turn your toes to center and then turn them to the opposite side. And stretch into the left side body here. And then come forward to plank pose. Looking straight down at your mat. Both hands are down. Exhale back, come to center. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend your knees. Step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. The inhale, we float the heart up and lengthen from sit bone to crown. The exhale, navel center draws in as we fold. And let's roll the spine up. Let the head be loose here. Let the arms just hang. And let's roll up. Let your head and your arms be the last thing to come up. And then circle wide, reach to the sky. Beautiful blue sky here above me. And draw into your heart center. Let's take a moment in mountain pose. Sorry, I got bit by something in the middle of plank. Take a moment in mountain. Close your eyes for a moment. Where I am coming from to you today is just a beautiful sound of the wind in the treetops, a very gentle breeze, and the sun is surprisingly really warm today after all our cold days. Hopefully you can hear the birds in the background and the gentle breeze. And if you're practicing indoors, perhaps you can imagine that you're standing in the forest right now. Feel all four corners of your feet, your toes spread, ground down into the earth. And let's just do a little bit of that grounding chair pose to start that we did last week. So if you missed practice last week, just bring your feet hip width apart. We're going to inhale to sit into chair pose, and as we exhale and rise up, we create this action as though we're pressing our feet out towards the ends of our mat. So let's inhale and sit down in chair pose. Hands can be also on your hips. And as you exhale, slide your feet apart and press slowly up. Release your arms down. Let's inhale, sit down in chair pose. Exhale, slide your feet apart, slowly rise up. So you really feel a charge in your legs as we begin to create energy here, like we've plugged into a socket to create energy, rising up from our feet. And we're also really creating grounding here. Let's do 2 more rounds like this. Maybe each round you're able to sink a little bit deeper. Feel that strength and that earth energy rising up. As you inhale and exhale, press down, feel grounded, release. Now let's do a little bit of side body work. Starting with an inhale, reach up to the sky. Intertwine your fingers, lengthen up, and then side bend over to your left side. Maybe look up to the sky here as we stretch up a little bit more, ground down through that right foot. Come back up to center. Let's exhale over to the other side. We're going to stay for an inhale here. Expand that side body one more time to each side. Coming up to center. Over to the left. Coming up to center. And over to the right. Coming up to center. Let's look up. Inhale, invite a little back bend. And as we exhale, we fold forward. Inhale to lift the heart halfway. And exhale, the belly draws in as we bow, stepping back with our right foot to the back of the mat, coming into a lunge position. If you need something under your hands, you can have blocks or books or even a chair to put your hands on if you need to. That's absolutely fine. Remember, you're choosing the degree of physicality that you're putting into your practice today. So we want that left knee stacked over the right, or left knee stacked over left ankle. And sinking that left thigh towards the floor and the right thigh up to the sky. Lengthen your crown forward. Take an inhale. As we exhale, navel center draws in. We move into reverse warrior. So you might need some props here as you walk your hands back. Lift those left toes and move that left leg towards straight, even if it doesn't come to straight, and the right heel towards your mat. So you might be high up on props like this, or you might fold over that front leg. Take an inhale here. The exhale, we ride the breath back to our starting position. We're going to make that transition one more time. Inhale here. Exhale, reverse lunge. Inhale, back to our starting position. We're going to pivot our feet to the long side of our mat for side lunges. So feet are parallel to the short end. Take an inhale here. As we exhale, bend your right knee. Walk your hands towards your right foot. Inhale, come back to center. Walk your hands to center. Exhale to the left. Bend the left knee. So we're getting a stretch in that inner thigh. Back to center, exhale to the right. Sometimes when I'm stiff, I feel this in my sacrum as well. Inhale to center, exhale to the left. Inhale to center. We're going to pivot our toes back to the top of our mat. So I'm back on top of my toes on the back foot, knee over ankle on the front foot. Let's reach that left arm straight out in front of us, planting your right hand down on something or on the floor. Really extend, get long in the left side body, and as we exhale, we're moving into a twist. Reach that left hand up to the sky, firm up that left hip. Maybe you look up to the sky here. And every exhale, your belly draws in towards the spine and up towards the ceiling. Take one more breath here. Release that hand down on the exhale. I'm going to give you an option to either drop your back knee and pause here, or we plant our hand, turn both toes to the left side of your mat to come into awkward lunge. And this really gets into this hip here. And then we can inhale, reach up to the sky. So it's kind of like a variation of side plank. Exhale, bring that hand down. Turn your toes to the top of your mat once again. And let's step back into downward facing dog. I didn't know the bugs are out, but apparently they have found my mat today. As we inhale, let's come forward to plank pose. You can drop your knees here, especially for the first one. Uncurl the toes. And let's lower all the way down to the mat. As we inhale, we rise up in our cobra, lengthening the breastbone forward. Exhale, come down. Bring your hands out to the side, onto your fingertips, elbows point up. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, come down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, roll up, lift up. And exhale, release down. Hands under your shoulders, press up and back, child's pose. Again, you have option to keep your toes curled under and stretch into the arches. Use the inhale to rise. Just a little pause in child's pose. The exhale, we move into downward facing dog. Press the top of the mat away. Take an inhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Lift the heart on the inhale as we lengthen the spine. The exhale, navel draws in as we fold. This time we'll circle the arms wide, reach up to the sky, and draw into your heart center. And release. So let's do our second side now. So let's inhale, reach to the sky. As we exhale, we bow forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, lift and lengthen. The exhale, we step back with our left foot. So coming into that lunge position. Knee stacks over ankle, pressing that thigh down. The back thigh presses up. So we're kind of scissoring the hips to normalize them or equalize them. Lengthen through the crown of your head. As you press into that back heel, we're moving into reverse lunge on the exhale. Ready? Exhale, move it back. The hips move back. Right leg straightens, toes rise up. Left heel moves closer to your mat, possibly. Either staying in a halfway lift or folding over that leg. You choose your degree of physicality, using your inner wisdom as to what your body needs. Take an inhale. On the exhale, let's ride the breath back to the top of the mat. Stay here for an inhale. One more reverse lunge. Exhale, walk it back. Use your props if you've got some. The inhale, we walk it forward. And now let's go into our, I hate to give you my butt view, we're moving into our side lunge, so turn your toes to the long side of the mat. Take an inhale and center. Exhale, bend the left knee. Walk it over. Inhale to center. Exhale into the right. Inhale to center. Maybe you lift your left arm as we move to the left. Inhale to center. Maybe we reach the right arm up as we bend the right knee. Let's inhale to center. Pivot the toes back to the top of your mat. Let's extend that right arm straight out in front of us. Get really long through that right side body, the right side of your spine. Take an inhale. Exhale, move into your twist. Belly draws in on the exhale and moves up towards the sky. Maybe you look up to the sky. If you're feeling unbalanced, you can also look down towards your mat. Take one more breath here. The exhale, we release down. So you can either lower your back knee into a low lunge, or you can move with us into awkward lunge by turning both toes towards the long side of your mat. So I'm on the outside edge of my back foot, and my right toes are pointing to the long side of my mat. So we're in a bit of a modified side plank here. Inhale, you might reach to the sky. Maybe you look to the sky. Take one more breath. Exhale, release it down. Roll back onto the top of your toes. Step back, downward facing dog. Let's roll forward, plank pose. Let's play a little bit with our plank. We already did a little bit of a side roll with our plank. So bring your feet hip width. Roll your toes to the right side of your mat. Option to lift your right arm up to the sky, side plank. Bring it down, toes back to center. Stay hip width as you roll your toes to the other side. You might keep both hands down or lift left hand up, coming into side plank. Exhale, hand comes down. Press back down dog. Press the top of the mat away from you. Inhale forward to plank. We're going to lower all the way to the mat, so you choose if you want to lower your knees, if you want to pause and chaturanga, or just lower all the way down. Exhale to lower, coming all the way down. This time let's release our hands alongside our hips for Salabhasana. Inhale, lift the heart, float the arms up. Maybe you're ready to float the legs up, and see if you can move your knees toward one another. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Take one more breath here. And exhale, release down. Rock your hips from side to side, release. Turn your head to the right. Look right. Release your hands to the small of your back or their sacrum, so the back of your hands rest on your sacrum. As we lift up into Cobra, we reach the right hand forward, look forward. As we exhale, look left. Come back to your starting position. Inhale, reach the left, look forward. Exhale, look right. Inhale, right arm reaches, look forward. Exhale, look left. Last one, inhale, left arm reaches, look forward. Exhale, look right. So you can release your hands down, or you might want to stack your hands under your forehead. Breathe into your belly for a few rounds here. Maybe you want to rock your hips. When you're ready, press back to child's pose. Either classic child's pose or extended child's pose. So after those back bends, working the back muscles, let's release the upper back muscles a little bit. So coming into rabbit pose. So if you're in wide-legged child's pose, bring your knees a little bit closer to one another, arms alongside your shins. Grab onto your heels, your ankles, whatever you're able to reach. Starting with your forehead on the mat, as you lift up, allow your head to roll to the crown of your head. So hips lift. And we're bringing a stretch into the upper back, that space between the shoulder blades. Let's have 2 more breaths there, just releasing any of that tension that you might be holding in your shoulders, between your shoulder blades, especially if you've been working on a computer or working in the garden. Take 1 more deep breath, breathe into your back body, and as you exhale, release your hips towards your heels. Let's inhale, come up to table, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Let's have 3 nice deep breaths here, bringing awareness to the belly and your breath. As you inhale, lift the hips up off the waist. And as you exhale, strongly draw the navel center towards your spine. Take 1 more inhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale to bow. Inhale, circle wide, reach high up to the sky, and draw into your heart center. Take a couple breaths in mountain pose. Reground, come back to your center, samastitihi. Come back to your intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of class. Two more breaths here. And then float your eyes open if you have allowed your eyes to close in your mountain pose. We're going to come into Apanasana, lifting the right leg. So Apanasana is just drawing that knee in towards the belly here. As soon as I move into balance, the wind has come up. Take 1 more breath here. And then we're simply going to release this leg back into a lunge, into crescent lunge actually. So stepping that foot, staying up on the toes towards the back of your mat. You can keep hands on your hips or reach up to the sky into our crescent moon. Maybe as you inhale, you lift the heart a little bit higher, lift the collarbones, but keeping the front ribs contained so we're not collapsing the ribs out. Engaging the back glutes to help support, maybe bending your knee a little bit if you need to. Let's take 1 more breath here. And then open the arms out to the side, the palms facing up, elbows slightly bent. Lift your collarbones a little bit higher with your inhale. Feel the chest expansive, light and spacious. And release your hands behind you. If you're able, intertwine your fingers and lift the collarbones, lift the heart center. Keep the front ribs contained. Maybe lift the hands slightly away from your buttocks. Maybe slightly gazing up. 1 more breath here. Release the hands, reach the right arm up to the sky. Left hand on your hip, we're moving into our twist. Left elbow comes across. Slide your elbow, your arm down wherever is appropriate for you. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you stack your hands. Also option to open. Some of you might even want to play with a bind. One more breath. Release the hands down. Step back into downward facing dog. Perhaps the amount of physicality that you want for your practice today requires that you come into child's pose. Perhaps down dog is your resting pose. Perhaps you want to flow and flush that out. And if you choose to do that, come forward to plank on the inhale. Use your exhale to lower. Use your inhale to rise in your back bend, cobra or up dog. The exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look between your hands, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Let the inhale lift the heart and lengthen your spine. The exhale, navel draws in as we bow. Inhale to rise up. And reach up to the sky and draw into your heart. Release your hands. Take a breath or two in mountain, top of your mat, samastitihi, coming back to your center. And then let's move into Apanasana for your second side. So this is my bad balance side. We're lifting the left knee and drawing it in towards the chest. Getting a little stretch in the groin and the hip. And we're going to release and step it back towards the back of your mat. Inhale, reach to the sky, or you can also have hands on the hip. You can also bend that back knee slightly. Keep the front ribs drawn in so don't collapse. Maybe you look to the sky. Stay with your ujjayi breath here. And we release the arms out to the side, palms facing up, elbows slightly bent. Lift the collarbones. Expand the heart center while keeping the ribs contained. Breath flowing in and out the nose. Releasing the hands behind you, intertwining the fingers if that's accessible to you. If not, you can just have hands on your sacrum as well. It's perfectly acceptable. Lift the heart center, whichever hand position you're in. Right hand comes to the right hip. Left hand reaches to the sky. We lengthen. You begin to lean forward. Slide that left hand wherever is appropriate for you. Maybe you stay right here like this. Maybe you fall over. Maybe you stack your hands for your twist. Maybe you open up. Some of you might even move towards your bind. This is usually where I fall over. Every exhale, the navel center draws in and spins towards the right. One more breath here. Release the hands down to the mat. Step it back, downward facing dog. Option for child's pose here once again. Option to take a flow, flush that side out, and meet us back in downward facing dog. And as you come into dog, take a moment to ground through the hands and the feet. Find your breath. Lift the hips up off the waist. Free up your neck. Let's float the right leg to the sky and three-legged dog. Use your exhale to draw that knee towards your nose. Curl it up. Lift high on your toes. Step it up between your hands. Use your right hand to help it get up there if you need to. Let's pivot that back foot down. And let's rise up for warrior two. Sorry, I've got my back to you. Hopefully you can still hear. So think about sliding your shoulder blades down your back as you extend through your fingers. If you usually have your fingers wide, bring your fingers together. Stacking that knee over the ankle, pressing that back foot straight down so the whole leg is engaged. Peaceful warrior. Inhale, reach it up. Send the tailbone towards the earth. Maybe looking up. The exhale takes us to side angle. You might take forearm to the knee. You might keep your hand on your hip or extend it. Really stretching through that left side body. Some of you might bring your right hand to the floor, looking to the ceiling or the sky. Some of you might play with a bind. Again, you choose the amount of physicality that you wish to engage in today. Rolling that left shoulder, left side body up to the sky. One more breath. And then we're going to move into triangle. If you're in a bind, you might want to keep that bind as you move into triangle. Or you might release your hand to the floor, or release your hand to your shin. Reach the top arm up. Remember our analogy of thinking about leaning on the upper back of a chair. So you're opening almost a back bend in your triangle here. If you wish to add a little extension in the side body, inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, come up. Come all the way up. And we're going to turn your toes to the long side of your mat. Sorry, I'm going to turn around for Prasarita. So let's start our first one. Let's just start. You can either slide your hands down the back of your thighs, hands on your hips, or reach your arms straight out to the side. As we exhale, we bend at the hip crease, releasing hands either to books if you're using books as a prop, or reach towards your big toes, elbows out to the side. Release your neck so you're not holding in the neck. And think about lifting the sit bones up to the sky. Sliding the shoulder blades towards your waist. And then inhale up to halfway lift, so hands come under your hands. Couple of options here. Bring your hands flat either on your props or on the floor, so they're right under your face, so they're extended away from your feet. Bend your knees, hop your feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise all the way up. Draw into your heart center. Release. Top of your mat, inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, step it back to downward facing dog. Float the left leg to the sky in three-legged dog. Stretch it up. Lengthen. Exhale. Draw the knee to the nose. Curl your spine up. Rise high on your right toes. Step it up between your hands. Pivot that back foot down. We're moving into warrior two. Rise up. Adjust your feet if you need to. Looking over your front fingers. Sliding the shoulder blades down your back. Belly drawn in. Both feet are actively pressing down. We're not just resting on our feet. So that engages all the inner thighs and the root. Take one more breath in your strong warrior here. And let's inhale, move it into peaceful warrior. Expand the breath on the left side. The exhale, we're moving into side angle. Again, you've got options here. You might just pause right here. Maybe hand remains on your hip. Maybe you reach it overhead, look into the sky. If you feel ungrounded or unbalanced, you can look to your foot to help balance you. Some of you might bring fingertips to the floor. Some of you, again, might play with the bind. Rolling those right shoulder up to the sky, maybe looking to the sky. One more breath wherever you're at. And then we're moving into triangle. So option to keep your bind in your triangle. Option to release the left hand to the floor. Option to bring your hand to your shin. And then option, inhale, reach towards the front of your mat. Exhale, reach it back up. Come all the way up. Turn toes to the long side of your mat once again. Prasarita C, so intertwining the fingers. If that's not appropriate for your shoulders, you can take the first version that we just did with hands on the hips or sliding down your thighs. Inhale, lift the heart, lengthen your spine. Exhale, folding forward. Sliding the shoulder blades away from the ears. Inhale brings us up, nice strong back. And then we're going to pivot our toes just a little bit. So they're pointing towards the corners of our mat. We're moving into fiery angel or goddess pose, sometimes called, I was going to say pyramid, but it's not, temple, sometimes called temple pose. So we're just going to bend the knees. You want your knees tracking the same direction as your toes. Reaching to the sky. Finding your ujjayi breath here. If you want, and I can't do it today because of a chronically sore ankle, you can think about rising up on your toes, on both toes, challenging your balance. Bend the elbows. Feel your strength within for one more breath. And then rise up. Release, turn your toes parallel. Just pausing here for a moment. Breath flowing in and out. Finding your, stay connected with your ujjayi breath. And then stepping or hopping to center. Come to the top of your mat. We're going to move into a little bit of balance. So we're just going to start with a simple tree pose. So starting our balance on our left foot. So spreading those left toes wide, bend the right knee, and bring that right foot to wherever is appropriate for you today. Might be your thigh, might be your ankle, might be your shin. Keep the heart lifted. Keep that left hip drawn in. One more breath here. We're going to release that right foot and step it to the back of our mat for crescent moon. Reaching to the sky. This is our second time on crescent moon, so we've been here before. And then we're going to bring our arms into eagle arms. So right arm comes under left, wrapping around, and your eagle might look like this. Or it might be the backs of the hands pressing into one another, or you might wrap your palms. Lift your elbows, draw your shoulder blades down your back, lift the collarbones. We're going to slowly and gracefully, and I might fall over, slowly and gracefully begin to lean forward and bring that right foot over and across into your eagle pose. Sitting down, thinking of all those birds of spring that have returned. Take a breath here. You might take the option to move elbows towards the knees, drawing the belly in. And slowly rising up. Beautiful. And then release. Spread your wings. Come out of your eagle pose. Maybe you want to reach to the sky and stretch that out. Hands to heart center. Let's prepare for tree pose on your second side. So spreading the right toes wide. I might not come along with you through this whole sequence because my right ankle is the injured one. So we're moving into tree first of all. So staying the right hip drawing in, and then find a spot for your left foot. Ankle, shin, or thigh. Heart's lifted, gaze steady. And from your rooted, strong tree, we're going to release that left foot. Step it back towards the back of your mat for crescent moon. Not every transition is perfect, and that's okay. Reaching to the sky or hands on your hips, we're going to draw the left arm under the right for eagle arms. Before you move into your eagle pose, just imagine yourself slowly and gracefully drawing that left leg forward. So start by leaning forward, shifting your weight onto that right foot. Maybe you have to tap down on the way up there. That's okay. It's a practice. So you might opt to stay upright here, or you might opt to draw your elbows towards your knees. And slowly coming back up. Take one more breath here. We spread our wings. Step back into mountain pose. Maybe you reach to the sky. Stretch it up. And release your arms down. Coming back into your mountain pose. Nice breaths here. Reground. Find your ujjayi breath. So we're going to do one more little series of standing poses that includes half moon pose. So a lot of people need some sort of a prop for half moon for their hand, either a block, a book, or you could even have the seat of a chair at the top of your mat to facilitate that. We're going to move into triangle pose first and then into our half moon. So starting at the top of your mat, we're simply going to step back with our right foot. So stepping that foot back, pivoting the heel down. Front leg is straight, just moving into triangle pose for our second time. You can look to the floor to ground yourself. Now this top arm can stay where it is if you want to transition from there. You can also bring it to your hip, or as we bend this front knee and bring your left hand to your prop or the floor, sometimes it's helpful to bring that right hand down as you make that transition and then float it back up once you find your half moon pose. So you can have your hand on your thigh to just kind of guide where your leg is. You might reach it up to the sky. If you're feeling adventuresome, you might reach overhead and lengthen from heel to fingertips. You might even move into a bit of a back bend, so I may fall over for this, but you can bend your knee, reach towards your toes, and open. If you've moved into a different variation, release. Bring hand down to the mat. Square your hips, draw your knee to your nose. Curl up. Release any tension in your back. Release your foot down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. And draw into your heart center. Take a few moments in your mountain pose before we move to second side. We're simply going to step back with the left foot for triangle on our second side. So taking a big step back, pivoting the heel down, and then moving into your variation of triangle pose. Remembering we want to keep the upper back open, so leaning it back rather than forward. Maybe you want to stretch that side body. Inhale, come back up. Now look towards your foot. Bend that front knee. Remember, the hand can stay reaching up as you transition. If you want a challenge, it might come to your hip, or you might release both hands towards the floor to help you with this transition as you float into half moon pose. So remember, we have some options here. Your arm can reach up. You can reach it overhead and really lengthen. You can even play with a little bit of a bind and a back bend, grabbing your ankle as you bend your knee. And then straightening the leg if you've moved into the bind. Releasing the left hand down. Squaring your hips. Draw the knee to the nose. Curl the spine. Release your foot down. Let's inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Let's step back into downward facing dog with option for child's pose here. We're all going to meet in child's pose, whether you breathe it out in down dog or take one last flow before you come and meet us in child's pose. That's up to you. Again, you're choosing your degree of physicality. You know what your body needs. Take as many breaths as you need in child's pose. And then we're going to meet in a seat when you're ready to meet us there. We're going to move into a twist, a seated twist. You can start with your legs out in front of you. We're going to draw the right knee in. So we haven't done this for a while, but we're going to start with an open twist. So bring your right arm inside your knee. And then we're just going to twist to the left. So really nice and simple and easy. Nothing too complicated. Belly's moving towards your left. And then come back to center. Bring your arm outside of that knee. So you have option to stay right here like this. Cross over, bring the left arm around that knee this time. Right hand is behind you. Some of you might want to draw that bottom leg in and underneath you. So start by drawing the belly towards the right. Hand is out behind you. So the body moves first. The head moves second. The eyes move last. I like to have that left hand wrapped around that leg, the left leg, or right leg, sorry, to get a little opening in the hip at the same time. Some of you might move into your bind if that's in your practice. Some of you might bring your elbow on the outside of that knee, or even bring your hand underneath to deepen the twist. You get to choose, again, choosing your physicality, the degree that you want to take here. One more breath in your twist. Keep your body where it is, just turn your head to look over your left shoulder, your front shoulder. Ease some of the tension from the neck. And bring both hands to your front knee. Sit up nice and tall here. Turn your head from side to side. And turn your shoulders. Sit up nice and tall again. And then release both legs. Let's draw left knee in. So starting with the left arm inside that knee, we're going to twist to the right. So just a nice, easy, open twist here, using that leg as a little bit of leverage, but not forcing. And then we're going to unwind. Again, your options for your twist. That foot can stay there, can cross over. This can be your variation of your twist. Or the bottom leg comes under. Draw the belly towards the left. Begin to spin the torso first, the head second, and the eyes last. Taking your various arm options, or moving into your bind. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, navel center draws in and twist towards your left. Take one more breath. Keep the body where it is and just turn your head to look over your right shoulder. And then bring both hands to your front knee. Turn your head from side to side. Roll your shoulders a little bit. And then release out of your twist. Extend both legs straight out in front of you. You're going to move into Janir Sirsasana. Sorry, you're about to hear Copper. He's coming up behind the computer, breathing heavily. He wants Shavasana. So Janir Sirsasana, right leg draws in. We're going to do the classic version rather than the revolved version today. Left foot's flexed. I think I should do it this way. Let's start by lengthening up, reaching to the sky, and then exhale, reach forward, inhale up, exhale, reach forward, inhale up, and this time as we exhale, moving into the pose and staying there. So we're rotating the chest towards the knee, lengthening the front body forward. Closing your eyes so that you're not having a destination of getting anywhere, just moving with your sensation in your body. But each inhale, think about lengthening the front body forward. Your next inhale, slowly begin to make your way up. Extend both legs straight. Sit up nice and tall in Dandasana. Reach the arms up to the sky. Lengthen up. Just keep reaching up. And then exhale Gentle forward fold. Inhale, come back up. Release the hands down, bend the left knee. Janu Sirsasana, second side. He's coming in. So let's do the same thing that we just did. He just wanted to come and say hi. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, a little fold, not going to your deepest. Inhale, reach up, lengthen the spine. And exhale, reach forward. Inhale, reach up. And this time we're going to move into the pose, keeping the front body long as we move into whatever depth feels right for your body, listening to your inner wisdom. Closing your eyes, coming into the sensing, the sensations in the body. You wish you can think about lengthening that left hand a little bit further than your right. It shifts your whole torso towards the right slightly. And slowly walk it up. Straighten both legs. One more forward fold just to even things out before we make our way to our back. Reach up to the sky. Inhale, exhale, lengthen and forward fold. Inhale, reach. Come all the way up. Lengthen up. Release the hands to the thighs. Just sit tall. Feel the length in your spine and the lightness in your heart. Your head floating like an apple on top of your neck. And then let's make the way onto our back. Knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. Take a moment's pause here and just tune into the sensations of the body. Tune into those parts of you resting on that firm surface beneath you. Tune into the sensation of the energy moving throughout your body that you created in your practice. And then let's simply draw the right knee in towards the chest as you extend the left leg straight. Apanasana. We did this standing. Now we're going to relax and soften into it. Just enjoy the sensation of a passive pose here where we're just resting in Apanasana. And then left hand to the outside of the knee, move into a twist. So drawing that right knee across the body, extending your right arm out, perhaps turning to look towards the right. Navel center draws in on the exhale and twists also towards the right. Let your inhale bring you back to center, back to Apanasana. Extend that right leg straight up to the sky. So your legs are roughly the shape of an L. If you need to support your leg with your hands behind your thigh or behind your knee, do so. Otherwise, just reach through the heel on both feet here. And then slide your hands up your leg as far as is accessible to you. Don't worry if you don't make it to your toes. It might be your shin or your ankles. I hope you can hear my rooster in the background. And then we're simply going to lift head and shoulders, nose towards your knee. So lifting up, drawing your knee or your leg towards your head towards your leg. Keep reaching through your left heel, through both heels actually. One more breath here. And release down. Bend that knee. Draw the other knee in. Both knees come to your chest. Extend the right leg up, lower it down. Apanasana, second side. So just enjoy the sensation of this passive little stretch here, allowing the hip flexor to soften. Right hand comes to the outside of the knee. We're moving into our twist. Extending the left arm, letting the head roll left. Navel center draws in and twists towards your left on the exhale. Slowly come back to center. Draw your knee in again. The left knee draws in. Extend that leg straight. So we're reaching through both heels here again. You can support that leg with your hands if you wish on the back of your thigh. Reaching through both heels. And then slide your hands towards your foot, whether you're on your shin, your ankle, or if you come all the way to your toes, doesn't matter. We're going to lift head and shoulders up off the mat. Draw leg towards your nose, nose towards your leg. Keep lifting, keep lifting. One more breath. Keep lifting. And then slowly release down. Bend the knee. Draw both knees in. You might rock from side to side here before you release your feet down to the mat. Let your feet ground. Feel sensation in the body. Feel tingling, warmth, ease. We're just going to move into one round of bridge pose. You have option for wheel or Urdhva Dhanurasana if you wish, but I'm going to demonstrate bridge. So you can have hands pressing down on the floor beside you. You can bend your elbows, pointing fingertips to the sky as you press your elbows into the floor. Or you can intertwine fingers under your bum as you lift the hips up on an inhale. Walk your shoulders underneath a little bit. Pressing your head into the floor, so all of your cervical spine should be up off the mat as you press shoulders down, arms down, and head down, so that you're not compressing anything in the cervical spine. Each inhale, perhaps you're able to lift a little bit higher. Taking one more breath, whichever version you're in. Use your exhale to slowly lower. Pausing here. Awareness to sensations of the body. Then I'm going to give you an option to do any last minute things that you would like to do before you move into Shavasana. So that might be just simply laying here, maybe windshield washing your knees from side to side. Maybe you want to reach your feet to the sky and legs up the wall for a few breaths. You've got about a minute to do whatever you wish. Maybe you want to move into shoulder stand. Whatever your body feels like it needs right now in order to be content and soften into your Shavasana, do that, whatever that might be. And maybe it's putting on a sweater or a blanket, a pillow under your knees, and moving into Shavasana right now. Got about another 30 seconds for whatever movement or position you feel that your body needs to be in. And if you haven't already moved into Shavasana, start making your way into Shavasana right now. Taking a few moments to set yourself up to be comfortable, to feel grounded. And let's all take some breaths together. Once you found your way to your back, taking a nice deep inhale. Pause at the top of your inhale. Retain the breath. Tense up all the muscles in your body. Scrunch up your face. Make a fist. Pull your toes towards your knees. Draw your belly in. Feel what tension feels like. And then let your breath release. Let all your muscles release. Sigh it out. We're going to do 2 more like that. Inhaling, tensing everything up so that you can feel what tension feels like in every part of your body. And then release. Feel what relaxation feels like. Feel what letting go feels like. Let's do 1 more like that. Inhale, tense up, scrunch up, tighten up. Hold your breath and let it go. Feel that difference of tension and relaxation, of holding your breath and letting go. Feel surrender. Feel softness. Feel relaxation. Feel stillness. And feel just being for the next few moments. Allowing every cell in your body to absorb all that beautiful energy you created through your practice, created through plugging in and mindfully moving energy and breath and prana throughout your body. I invite you to stay in Shavasana as long as you like, at least another 5 to 10 minutes, and absorb everything. And when you're ready, you move out into the rest of your day. Namaste.